The western red cedar, also known as Thuja Plicata, is one of the most distinctive trees of the Pacific Northwest. Member of the family of conifers known as Cupressaceae, these large to very large evergreen trees are among the most ecologically and economically important organisms in the Pacific Northwest. They are the provincial tree of British Columbia and the pillar of Northwest coastal native life. Commonly occurring as a dominant or co-dominant species on low elevation moist land, these trees can grow up to 21 feet in diameter and 55 meters tall in Pacific Northwest rainforests. Their bark becomes shredded with narrow ridges as they age, and their wood is highly resistant to rot. Endowed with a unique assembly of survival mechanisms, it's no surprise that some of these trees can live well over 1,000 years. The setting is a temperate rainforest surrounding the Evergreen State College, where Thuja Plicata can be found alongside associated species such as Douglas fir and western hemlock. Spring is in full bloom, and the conifers are beginning to pollinate their cones. Among the scattered cones of Douglas fir, hemlock, and other associated species, the western red cedar's small oblong cones can be hard to spot. When compared to the cones of a hemlock and Douglas fir, the side-by-side distinctions that form the anatomy of a Thuja Plicata cone become apparent. Thuja Plicata is a relatively unique species in that it also has the ability to reproduce asexually through a process called layering. A tree will grow its lowest branches down toward the ground. If these branches happen to come into contact with the soil in an area with high moisture content, they will perform what is known as vegetative reproduction and grow roots back into the ground at the site of soil impact. Then, a new tree genetically identical to its parent grows back into the air from the newly formed rootstock. Thuja Plicata also has the ability to root back into the ground after falling over from living branches left on the tree. This is a true cedar, the Atlas cedar. Member of the genus Cedrus and the family Pinaceae, Thuja Plicata can be easily distinguished from members of this genus by its foliage and cones. The name red cedar is a bit of a misnomer. Thuja Plicata is more closely related to the giant sequoia, native to the Sierra Nevada mountain range. Known by scientists as Sequoiadendron giganteum, the giant sequoia can also be easily distinguished from Thuja Plicata by its foliage and cones. Both Sequoiadendron giganteum and Thuja Plicata are grouped into the family Cupressaceae, or the cypress family. From the coast of Oregon all the way up to southeast Alaska, indigenous societies have had a long history with Thuja Plicata, using its wood for things like totem poles, masks, boxes, instruments, canoes, houses, weapons, and tools. These days, we also use the wood to make things like poles, fences, decks, doors, frames, paneling, furniture, boats, and much more. The bark of Thuja Plicata also has a history of being used to make clothing, baskets, rope, bowls, and blankets. For Native Americans, harvesting the trees was a ceremonial circumstance in which they would show respect for the lives of the trees they cut. I mentioned earlier in this video that Thuja Plicata could grow to be fascinatingly tall, unbelievably wide, and unimaginably old. There are few places left on the planet that are able to support the conditions required for them to reach such heights, but located in and around the Quinault Rainforest on Washington State's Olympic Peninsula, you can find some of the largest trees on our planet. Standing up against the test of time, Thuja Plicata that managed to ripen in the setting of an old-growth stand tend to have a slightly grotesque and gnarled appearance, usually hollow on the inside and supporting vast amounts of epiphytes. Although these trees may not age beautifully, they still remain as standing giants and monuments to the powerful forces of nature that keep life thriving in an ever-changing world.